The Australian Certified UAV Operators Association was first established in 2009. It was sanctioned by CASA as a method to get together all these certified UAV controllers who had just been certificated and form an association to represent a single unified voice for Australian unmanned aircraft in Australia. So it was something that started from CASA headquarters. It was an idea that the first 3 certified UAV operators get together and establish the association so we could continue to grow in a structured manner and apply sensible standards and also consultation to industry as the industry grows.
And where's the membership numbers now?
Currently we're sitting on 18 official members in terms of certified UAV controllers and operators. We also have a couple of insurance companies on board, and we represent a large majority of the Australian certified UAV operators. Our aim is to get 100% of every single certified operator in Australia on our books.
And what would you say would be the main agenda or the charter for the association?
The charter is to safely promote the growth of commercial UAS activities within Australia, to do it in a sensible, structured manner, and to grow the industry to a point where people have confidence in unmanned aerial systems and operators to commission them for various tasks.
What's the current pace of growth?
It's the fastest growing sector in the world in aviation. So in Australia we've seen the numbers literally quadruple over the last 24 months. And initially, from the first 3 to 4 operators, there was about 6 certified UAV operators back in 2003, 2004. And since then, it's gone up to close. We're going to be getting to about 100 by the end of the year.
And so, what's the main driver of the growth, do you think?
I think it's the need for this type of application, the application of technology in so many diverse fields. It's just it's exploding, literally busting at the seams. It's something I haven't seen in 24 years of aerospace experience before.
But it was pretty obvious that it was coming. Something I wrote about back in 2009. The moment I saw these UAVs and the range of them, you could just tell it was eventually going to move from military into civil applications. How does Australia compare to other countries in terms of preparing for this technology and considerations for regulating it?
I think Australia is leading the world in terms of regulatory reform and development. Australia was the first country to actually establish rules for Part 101, which was governing the operation and use of unmanned aerial vehicles. The FAA and European agencies soon followed suit, and we're very proud to say that we have at the moment a very structured approach. We're also in continuous improvement mode, and not only are we updating the outdated 2002 regulations, but we're actually coming up with new standards and best practices in UAS. So we're very privileged to have one of our CASA members on the ACUO working group for regulatory reform, and he's interfacing with associations like ACUO, and we work very closely with Mr. Jim Coyne from CASA and the ACUO working group in terms of regulatory reform in UAS for the world.
And in terms of the standards, are you looking at from the pilot's perspective or the systems perspective? Should there be control on the sale of these systems?
Most definitely. I believe there should be at least registration of UAS platforms and operators. Obviously, there's been a bone of contention in terms of how far down do you go down the food chain, from the multi-million-dollar UAVs down to the $500 drones, even down to the $25 ones you can pick up at most toy shops. Where do you draw the line in terms of safety and impact, on public safety and also aviation safety? So there's been some drives or pushes to deregulate the sub 2 kilogram UAVs, which we don't really support because we believe these systems have the capability to actually cause harm if used the wrong way.
Do you think it's going to take a major incident? We're aware of the Sydney Harbour Bridge incident. Do you think it's going to take a major incident to kind of get more responsive government action?
Most definitely. I think we tend to be a lot more reactive. There are lots of unlawful uses of UAVs at the moment. There's been a lot of attempts globally, overseas, to use drones or unmanned aircraft to deliver contraband and all sorts of illicit products into prisons. And we've had quite a few behavioural markers in the industry to identify the potential threat to not only our national security but also private citizens and individuals.
Do you think, though, that the benefits of these systems in the civil market will outweigh the risks, or do you think eventually it will have to be regulated simply because their availability and the extent that they can be used for? Which is better, the benefits or the risks, and how does that equate?
I think it's a dual-sided sword in terms of the benefits. The lawful use of unmanned aerial vehicles can definitely be applied in law enforcement, security, and multitude of other industries. However, there's also a flip side to that coin, and the unlawful use and irresponsible use of drones could potentially either cause the certified, professional operators to have a lot of restrictions and a lot of the Civil Aviation Authority will close down the industry if not managed properly.
Fair enough. Well, look, what are some of the leading systems that you're seeing out there, or some of the major drivers? We talked about the major drivers in various sectors. What about police, law enforcement and security applications? Are you seeing many applications for there in Australia?
I've been on record to say it's a must-have for any law enforcement agency. I think it's an essential tool to enhance the overall capability for law enforcement and security. I think it's something that is undeniably a resource that can be used safely and also take people out of harm's way in terms of doing the dull and dirty works.
Well, we've seen just recently drones being used by the Northern Ireland Police in response to an incident. Are you aware of Australian law enforcement purchasing a UAV system at all?
I'm aware there's been certain trials to test the durability and also the reliability of these systems. Most of the new systems on the market nowadays don't have a lot of trending data to support safety cases. So, in order to deploy a certain device in the field, we need to have some statistics to go by, to analyze to see if it is safe for use. The reliability statistics haven't really been forthcoming, and a lot of operators, whether it be legal or illegal, have and obviously aren't reporting the crash rates or the error rates for these systems.
But again, there was some footage shown on the ABC over the New South Wales Blue Mountains fires. I'd imagine that was probably, I don't know who that pilot was, but fire response and those types of things. At this stage, most of the footage I'm seeing is from unregistered or just private use operators. Where is the tipping line? Where do you see that tipping point? Will it be by 2014 that this industry will kick in and regulation will start to kick in, or we've got some years away?
I think we need to, the regulator needs to refocus its attention on an effective enforcement strategy. At the moment, there are very little deterrents in terms of penalties that would apply, and I think it's a question of applying those deterrents from a sanctioning perspective and from the authorities to actually curb the rapid growth of these devices.
Is it something as simple as, in terms of their design, making sure that they have some sort of tracking system on them, that they can't be removed, so you can kind of link back that particular system back to the operator, or even if they're private?
Fortunately, the systems themselves, by default, rely on a lot of telemetry and a lot of data in terms of spatial information. And so in terms of having a miniature black box, they record every single parameter of the flight, which is great in evidence gathering. However, we tend to see a lot more uncertified people posting footage online and creating problems for the professionals out there who make a living from this. And so this is where we try to bridge the gap and raise the awareness to the general public, as well as the wider communities internationally, but locally and internationally, and try and curb the unlawful use of these devices.
And we're obviously talking about unmanned aerial systems, but what about unmanned, we're moving into the area of robotics, miniature robotics, autonomous vehicles, both land-based and sea-based. Do you think is there wider consideration to autonomous unmanned vehicles, whether they're, whichever theatre they're able to be deployed?
Most definitely. Look, in terms of automation, it's certainly more affordable right now. There are a multitude of platforms, whether it be airborne, subsea, on-terrain. These systems can be integrated, so you could have various systems that can work cohesively together. And I think the application is unlimited in terms of the systems engineering and development on a daily basis. We're seeing new revisions, new capabilities coming out. One area of concern is the ability of unmanned remotely piloted aircraft systems to be flown in a swarm. So we could have potentially small little UAVs flying in large numbers on multiple waypoints. So, it's those types of considerations that I don't think many people have got their heads around in terms of safety and security, and I think that needs to be understood.
Well, it doesn't take too much time on YouTube to find those types of systems and to get a sense of where the technology is at today, and then to look forward just 2 or 3 years' time as to their availability. So thank you very much for your time.
Not a problem. Thank you very much.
Cheers, Joe.